Mommy's melting. Mommy.
I so badly want to just like push Sylvia off that thing.
Hello, so I had an amazing day. I'm going to keep it short because I've said the whole story on my other channels, Melbourne Diary Vlogs, but I had a great meal at Cupid Espresso, I think it was. I had another great coffee at Hellas Cafe. I needed 2 coffee beverages to try and keep me awake for this evening. I went to Twitch's Emporium, and the woman who owns the store turns out to be someone I matched with on Hinge, but we didn't go out on a date because she was only interested in non-monogamy and a more casual dating, whereas I was looking for something serious straight out the gate. But we just vibed, man. We were just talking up a storm, and she said, would you be interested in being friends? And I'm like, yeah. I have 2 friends and they're not available very often, so I do find myself going alone to a lot of events, and I thought this woman lives somewhat close by. So we exchanged numbers, and I was getting my hair done, and I thought, I'm going to invite her to tonight's queer burlesque event. And she said yes, and she's picking me up. So I got her a candle to say thank you, and we'll see how we go. I'm equal parts excited and absolutely terrified because I don't know her. I just met her today, but we seem to vibe. So fingers crossed, it turns out to be a great friend date. I bought so many things from that store. It is like my soul store. Everything in there was stunning. If I had the funds, I would just have bought the entire shop out. So it was so hard to choose a few things. This is one of my purchases. So you've got Mother Mary on there. I've showed everything I purchased on my other channel, but I'm definitely going back. I thought I have to come back here when I'm not schwitzing up a storm. It is so humid and hot in Melbourne today that I am just leaving swathes of sweat in my wake. So after, I think I was there for about 45 minutes trying things on, I thought, okay, I have to leave. I'll just grab a few things and come back. I shall return another day, which I definitely will, because it's just everything about the store is fabulous. So if you're in Melbourne, highly recommend you go to Twitch's Emporium. But I went to the library book club, and thank God, every single one of us except the head librarian who hosts the book club hated that book. We all had the same opinions, and just to rehash and refresh everyone's memory, it is way too long. It could have been cut down. There's so much extraneous detail that is not important to the plot. The main character is unlikable. She tries to make meaningful commentary on a huge amount of social issues, but it just comes off as superfluous and cringe. There's a lot of like social media references and current pop culture that is already dated, and it has a very unsatisfying ending. So we all felt the same way, which was kind of validating. The next book for that though is Spare by Prince Harry. And I'm like, oh, but we all decided that after this book, because every single one of us said that we had to force ourselves to finish it. So as a collective, we decided that from now on, if we're not enjoying it, it's okay to DNF, still come to the book club, hear everybody else's chats, and just talk about other book-related things. Like we were talking about Pulitzer Prize and Booker winners and writers' events, and we talked about a whole range of things. I also grabbed 2 books from the library. So this one, I've seen this all over booktube. This is Claire Keegan's So Late in the Day. It's a mini book, but people are just raving about it. I haven't read any of her writing before, so I thought, look, it's so small. I think it's like 56 pages. This will take me less than an hour to read. I thought I'd give it a go, see if this is an author that I enjoy. And I grabbed this by Jeanette Winterson, 12 Bites. So I've read one of her books. I thought it was okay. There were some beautiful parts of the writing, but the story itself didn't really float my boat. I have no idea what this is about. It says history repeats itself, the same struggles in different disguises, but AI is new to human history. Utopia or dystopia? So I don't know if this is, I think this is nonfiction. Like this feels like nonfiction. I love the cover though, you know, and it's got yellow and pink and yellow, pink and red, pink and green. I love those color combos. So that's what I've grabbed from the library today. I read another 100 pages of When the Moon Hatched. It's okay. It's starting to slow down the pace a little bit. So it does jump back and forward to the past and the present. And it's for a reason that it does that. But I do find books that do that, it slows the pace every time because you're like, backtrack, now come forward, now go back, now go forward. But like I said, I'm going to read it to the end. So I think I've got like another 130 or so pages to go. And then I'm done. So I should finish that tomorrow and update you then. I also started reading Poet X, and so far I'm really loving the verse form. And I don't have a gist of where it's going yet, but it's really different. And it feels more like a poetry book rather than a typical like short story or novella. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Like I said, a lot of people have highly raved about this. And even though it's about, I think she's a teenager, she's young, I don't mind it. So we'll see how that continues. But yes, I'm off to the burlesque event with my new friend. that I met today, but that I'd matched with previously. And I will touch base with you guys tomorrow once I've read a bit more. Eight and a half.
You should do more than that.
I know, but I'm still working on myself.
I want to be a model bottom. What if you're a supermodel? What would you rate yourself?
I'm not judging myself based on my looks, darling. I'm judging myself based on my character and my qualities.
You can't change your character though.
Yes, you can. You can decide who you want to be whenever you want, darling. So I have finished Poet X. It's not really for me because it is young. So the main character is in high school, and I just get the ick now whenever I read about teenagers in school sort of grappling with their sexuality and starting sexual relationships with other teenagers. So it wasn't for me, but I do see how a lot of people would love it. So I think it being written in verse form worked well for it. Some of the verses were obviously more powerful or more poetic than others. The main themes of the book though are quite heavy. So religion, really big, and very much emphasis on religious sin. The relationship with the mother is abusive, so you've got that parental abuse situation happening. Obviously, like I said, sexuality is also another big theme, and individuation, that autonomy that teenagers start to want to have, that separation from the parents and becoming their own person, and the parents not wanting that and very much wanting to still control and mold and shape their children. Xiomara was, I think, a very accurate depiction of a teenager and all of the emotions and thoughts and roller coaster highs and lows that, you know, occur in teenagehood. But yeah, like it was a decent read. Like it's not for me. I'm not the right age for it anymore, but I can see why it's making the rounds and people are really enjoying it. I'm still reading When the Moon Hatched. It's kind of getting a bit tiresome now. I'm losing interest as it's going on. Like it's a very long book, and I just wish that books were not so padded and filled. Like I understand if they're going to be a standalone, then it's necessary, but if they're going to be part of a series, I don't know, man, like spread it out. Don't clump so much in one particular novel. And I think too, with a lot of people's attention span becoming shorter, it's even more important to have great editing that really cuts out any superfluous details, that really dampens the pace and makes it a bit more of a slog to get through. You want to still have your attention peaked and be invested and feel like there's a good flow. So this one's starting to wear off its welcome, but I'm guessing things are going to pick up pace. A lot of things are going to happen in the ending. I'm sure it's going to finish on a cliffhanger, as a lot of these fantasy series do. So we'll see how we go. I've still got 130 pages left to read, so I'll probably knock that out tomorrow. I've just started listening to, I think it's called Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens, or Shy Time at Cinnamon Gardens. This is going to be an upcoming book club book, and it was available as an audiobook, so I thought I'll just bang it out now. And so far it seems to be about a nursing home and centered on a Sri Lankan family and a Greek family, pretty much immigrants to Australia. So it's set in Australia, and it's showcasing sort of the racism that they are experiencing here in this country, ageism as well, but also ties of family and caring for each other. Unfortunately, because of a miscommunication with the venue, we ended up missing 40 minutes of the show. So we only got to see 3 of the performers perform, but it was okay, so this is my first burlesque, and it wasn't the kind of burlesque that you'd probably normally think about, which is like very elegant, very luxurious, very sensual, very structured upon the flirtatious disrobing. It was more about like shock and humor and silliness and ridiculousness. So it was a very different vibe. I do absolutely want to go and see a more traditional burlesque show. I don't think this was kind of for me. It was a bit odd, and I didn't find it particularly funny. They used a lot of like food stuff in a gross way, and I have a thing with food. I don't like, I won't get into it, but it wasn't quite for me. But I had a lovely night. I'm feeling so much worse for wear today, but I am going out to the NJB with my cousin this evening, and then I'm probably going to pass out and die. No, I'm just joking. But I will be doing absolutely nothing tomorrow. So I will see you then.
He was like,
I picked up a random book. It was at the library in the most wanted section, and I've heard so many people talking about this little itty bitty novella, and it's called So Late in the Day by Claire Keegan, who has, from what I've seen, a massive fan base. So for me, this is the glimpse into the life of a very mid-Irishman who is clearly lacking interpersonal skills, which results in the dissolution of his romantic relationship also. I found it a really lovely, quiet, but enjoyable story. Claire Keegan's writing is my jam, and I enjoy the simplicity of just looking at a mundane slice of a human's life, but also the little bits of beauty and sorrow and tragedy and desire to connect but inability to do so. I will definitely read some more of her works. I believe even one of her books is slotted for my book club. So I did enjoy my time with it. It's like, I gave it 4.5 stars. I guess it's one of those books too that's more vibes, not so much a plot. It's like I said, it's just a slice of life, but it's done in a really skilled way. I also finished When the Moon Hatched, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, ooh, did this just go downhill so fast, like a freaking meteorite falling to earth. I started the book with these vibes of, oh, I think this might be a 5-star. This has so much promise, and the premise is cool. Basically, at the end of the day, the coolest part of this book are the dragons who, when they decide to die, fly up to the sky, curl up into a ball, turn to stone, and become stone dragon moons. That is the coolest part of the book, and I've saved you some time. This book, tell me why, for some reason I thought it was 500 plus pages. It's 700 plus pages. 700 plus. Bro, why? And if it was justifiable, because it's a first book in a series, I'd understand, but there is so much stuff that just doesn't need to be there. It drags. It is boring. I don't know how it went from, oh my God, this could be fantastic, to, man, I really wish I hadn't just given time of my life for this book. Yes, everything sort of started to turn sour for me once the romantic trope was introduced. And once again, it's a certain trope that is a spoiler, so I can't tell you what it is. But this whole plot device is not one that I'm fond of. I find it just really kills any chemistry between the lovers. It also kills the pacing because you're also going back and forth in time periods, which not a fan of. More POVs were introduced as well, and there's just too many POVs spoiling the broth. And the main character becomes insufferable and annoying and unlikable. You're not rooting for anybody in this book except the dragons. The amount of the times the word cock was also used in this book is too damn high. I don't mind, a cock here or there, but come on, man. I don't want them flying at my face dozens a page. Too much. I don't care if they're micro. I don't care if they're the big ones, which you also were told. You were told what kind of cock it is. It was, could have done with less. But yeah, this was just a hot mess. I've given it 2 stars, and the 2 stars is based on my initial enjoyment of the book and the potential that it had. It could have been really amazing. It definitely did not get there, and it just, like I said, it tanked. It tanked hard, and I wished I DNF'd it. I wished I hadn't pushed myself through, pretty much, even though it's that sunk cost fallacy, isn't it? When you get to the point where I thought, oh, I've already read 500 pages, I might as well just read the last 2 to see if it does anything amazing. Look, does it do some last minute reveals right at the end to try to get you to read the second installment? Yeah, it does, but it's not enough. It's like, no, there is nothing actually that you could have done right at the end to save this and make me invest even more time. But yeah, come on, who the edited this and thought, yeah, you know what? Every single one of these 726 pages or whatever it was is vital. We've got to keep them all in. Who? But yes, that was so thoroughly disappointing. I had such high hopes and I got so excited and oh boy, yeah, no, not for me. It was, I don't know if this is a thing, everyone's trying to jump on the dragon train now because of Fourth Wing. I know there was Dragonfall too, but that was such a dud of a book. But man, I'm sorry, just because dragons are cool doesn't mean the book's going to be. If you don't have what it takes to also fill the book with decent plot, decent characters, good pacing, good writing, dragons are not enough. You cannot put the entire book on the back of a dragon. It's not enough, unfortunately, as majestic and lovely as they are. But I'm going to end the vlog here so I don't go too long. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.